What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are going to talk about perception versus reality. Perception versus reality. Are they the same thing? Does your perception define reality, or is reality just what it is, regardless of what your perception is? And how did you arrive to those perceptions? We're going to dive into that stuff today. Hit the like button, subscribe button, ring the notification bell, drop your comments, share the videos, all that good stuff. I arrived at this topic today for a multitude of reasons, especially today. 1 year ago today, my mom passed away, and the reality of that is that it's been a year. But my perception of that is that I still feel like it was yesterday. So it got me to thinking about my perception versus reality. And then I was, doing my normal stuff that you would go through during the day and come across some news articles. And Joey Behar made a dumb statement where she said that the citizens of East Palestine, Ohio, deserve the train wreck and everything that's coming because of it, because they vote red. They voted for Trump, and so they deserve it. What a harsh thing to say. And the reality is that nobody deserves that. Her perspective and her perception was that they deserve it because they voted for deregulation and all this other stuff. But the reality is they just voted for something they thought would benefit their lives. And this tragedy would have happened regardless of whoever was in office, because the reality is both wings of the government serve the same master, which is the owner class. They serve the corporate interest. And the reality is, this. You've seen this in your life. So there's perception and reality, right? So let's get down to the brass tacks. What is perception? What is reality, right? Perception is awareness through the senses, okay? So perception is what you're able to learn and observe and interpret through your senses. That's perception. So what's reality? Reality is things as they actually exist, regardless of how you feel about it or think about it. Things how they actually are. Those are two very different things. For instance, you may think that you came to your view of life organically, that you went through public education and were taught critical thinking, and through your life experience, you came to this understanding of life as it is organically. But the reality is that we've been indoctrinated from birth. All of us. Everybody who was born in this country was indoctrinated from birth to view the world the way that we view it. Now, does everybody stay in the trap? Does everybody stay boxed in the trap and stay with the blinders on and stay thinking the dream is real? No. Many people break out of it, and through happenstance and through education outside of a system, reading books and everything else, they become independent thinkers, and they get to a different understanding. But the reality is, public education and education in general, when you're talking about a systemic education, is meant to indoctrinate the public. So we've been indoctrinated to think the things that we think. For instance, our perception is that we're free. We are free citizens of a free country, and we can do things freely. That's our perception. That's what we think. The reality, however, is that we are wage slaves. Unless you're in the millionaire, billionaire class, you're a wage slave. That's your reality. Why is that, though? Because if you don't have a job and a constant income, and you don't produce for a owner interest, there aren't enough safety nets to keep you from dying. That's the reality. You're a wage slave, as I am a wage slave. And some of us are compensated better than others. Some of us collectively bargain together for better a better life and better treatment. Some of us go at it alone, but the reality is we're all wage slaves. But we think we're free. Everybody has this idea that we're free. I hate to be the bearer of bad news because it tends to ruffle feathers and get people to be upset, and it gets them to start being very negative. And if you read the comments, that sometimes that can get to you. But that's the reality. We're wage slaves. It is what it is. Here's another contrast. The perception is that media is divided. You have your CNNs and they're on the left. You have your Fox News and their cohorts, and those are on the right. And they preach different things and they hate each other, and that's the perception. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Fox, CNN, Fox, own news, Fox. The reality is that the fighting is a show meant to confuse us. But if you take note on issues of economic importance, they always align in the viewpoint of corporate interest. Always. So the reality is we have a united media that works together to propagandize us and keep us fighting over culture issues that really don't have an impact on our lives for the most part. Perception versus reality. When I was hearing about the Joy Behar thing with East Palestine and the comment that she made, I was like, man, how could you even think that way when, you know, Obama lightened the regulations on the labeling of the chemicals and made hazardous chemicals less hazardous, classified them less hazardous, but he wanted them to put on some electronic brakes instead of using Civil War era brakes. But then the Trump administration came in and they scratched the brakes and was like, you don't need to worry about none of that. And then the Biden administration came in and they didn't do anything. They didn't say, hey, we're going to make you put them brakes on. They didn't. So the reality is that we have a system that has been designed for the wealthy, by the wealthy, of the wealthy. But we are lied to and told that we have a chance to be the wealthy. And so if we don't ever have a nice life where we're stress-free and we're able to vacation, we're able to not worry about getting sick and all of that stuff, if we never attain that, it's our fault. When in reality, all of us support this entire system to the benefit of a very small number of people. And that small number of people extract as much wealth as they can from this system and try to force this system to never provide the proper living conditions that we all deserve, just by the fact of we're human beings and we're working together on this planet to try to survive. Perception versus reality. The reality is, if we work for a living, we are brothers, sisters, and siblings in this fight together. That's the reality. But we've been lied to. For hundreds of years, we've been lied to. This is by design. We have to outsmart the system and its designers, because it's working as intended. If you think income inequality wasn't intended, you don't know history. You should read some labor history and read American history, and you will see that it was by design. Income inequality is by design. We are suffering by design of the system because wealthy folks designed the system to their benefit and to our detriment. But we have to wake up, get out of the fog, snap out of our perception, start facing reality. That's what I got for you. My name is Eric. You're watching Union Minded Man. Remember, the fight's not left and right. That's fool's play. The fight is up and down. It's going to take class solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And remember, there can never be a union without you and I front and center. Peace out.